Good morning, traders. This is Rick Majors here at Opteck.com. Today is Tuesday, April 1st, 2014. A new month ahead of us means a new plethora of opportunities in the market here. We had a very odd day yesterday. A lot of things happened that we weren't really expecting in terms of spikes, especially coming from the Asian side of the market. Japanese yen had some very unexpected volatility, especially in its losses. We were seeing points where even in the European Asian sessions, we had things like the US dollar Japanese yen, the GBP Japanese yen, the Euro Japanese yen were taking a very substantial gains against the yen without any real precedents, any real events coming from that area or even against them. It was just simply the yen was not reacting. There was no strength attributed to its side of the argument in terms of fighting against another currency. The dollar was one of the ones that will make substantial gains, but the euro managed to keep a little bit more stability on that asset, and I think it's going to continue throughout. We did have some very important speeches yesterday. The American speech, however, Janet Yellen, the chairwoman of the Federal Reserve and the FOMC, gave a speech, and when we see a speech coming from the head of the Federal Reserve, it doesn't matter who it is. It matters that it is the Federal Reserve of the United States, and this is something that a lot of people pay attention to due to its economic repercussions. And what ended up happening was nothing. Literally, I'm sitting there watching the market and listening to her speech, and the usual points, what we call the trigger points, when she says something that's related to monetary policy or fiscal policy. There's usually supposed to be some sort of movement. There is supposed to be reaction. It's just not happening. There was movement in the American market. There was volatility, not as much as I would have wanted, but there was that kind of action there. But that the event, that speech, was supposed to be a lot more active, and it wasn't. However, on the British side, Governor Carney also gave a speech a couple hours later, and it did generate volatility. We're looking at a very interesting market. Britain has a lot of bright plans to the future in terms of tax reforms, in terms of immigration policies. We have a lot of things coming into the mix right now which are going to allow for a very interesting April in the binary option market. Now, coming up today, most of the things that needed to happen have already gone through. Australian dollar cash rate, things like that, and the Royal Bank of Australia rate statement. All of these things have already really ended a little bit earlier in the morning. What we have right now is 9:30 a.m. Remember, this is now on British summertime and not on GMT. We'll call it GMT anyways, but the hour has gone one ahead, if I'm not mistaken. We have the manufacturing PMI on the pound here. All right, manufacturing PMIs are very important as economic indicators. So when we're seeing right now that it is forecasted to be negative, not an overall surprise. Let's open up the folder here for a second and take a look. What we're seeing here on the overall, it has been in a bit of a decline recently. Nothing overly serious. It has managed to stay at the 56 area for the last couple of months, but it hasn't been making too much change. I would want to see a positive announcement here, but my hopes aren't high at this point. Problem with London and Britain as a whole and the United Kingdom as an economic issue is that this and Scotland combined are a relatively small industrial economy. All right, business, banking, things like that are done very well here, especially in the England side. But Scotland has a manufacturing industry and a business industry that is not overly burgeoning. It's not very huge. It's not very expansive. And during the last argument with Scotland in relation to leaving the United Kingdom and joining the European Union, London basically said, have fun with it, enjoy, we'll see you when you're bankrupt. So seeing this come out as a negative wouldn't be a huge surprise, but from what I can see here so far, it actually might turn out to be a nice positive one. They have had a couple of months of decline. They should be expecting at least to give a push towards getting that PMI rating up a little bit so they can have a nice boost in their currency strength. Last thing we have another manufacturing PMI. This is the ISM for the United States. Very important one. All right, this comes directly from the ISM, which is the Institute for Supply Management, one of the leading forces really in a lot of the analysis that goes into the economics of logistics throughout the United States economy. There's been a couple of bumps in the road in the last couple of months. You look at February and January here. It came out as a no change, also with a very negative result in February. But what we saw is a gradual climb back up, and I am seeing this as pushing near or at least to take over its forecasted rate of 54.2 down up from 53 and come into a positive stance. And that should also give a nice boost to the US dollar, which, as we can see with all the cheerleading that's been done, as I've come to call it, the dollar is on the rise, and we should expect at least the announcements to fall in line with it. Looking forward into the week, remember it is NFP week. We do have the NFP coming up on Friday, and tomorrow we have the ADP, non-farm employment change, which is the preliminary for the NFP. The results that come out here can weigh in heavily on the NFP's result in the end and how people react to it. Non-farm employment change, however, is at 1:30 p.m. British summertime here in London. Looking at a very, very positive forecast right now. A lot of jobs to be created. This could also be in part to the fact that the government has been saying that part-time jobs count as job created. So we should be seeing a positive result and a good return. That means a very, very high boost for the dollar. Gold down, euro down, pound down. A lot of volatility is going to be caused by this event. If we get another positive rating here, just again to open the folder, that means 2 in a row. That will be a very, very major movement in the market. Okay, guys, thanks for listening in. Again, we will see you tomorrow here at Opteck.com, 9 a.m. British summertime, for our next daily market briefing. If you would like to contact me personally, you can catch me on Skype at rick.majors.opteck. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our video to stay in touch with us every day, Monday through Thursday, on the daily market briefing. Thanks, and have a happy trading day.